taken our pictures. We're ready to get this animal quartered up. This is the gutless method. So we'll be able to remove all 4 quarters, the neck meat, back strap, inside loin, and most of the rib meat without ever entering the chest cavity.
Meat preservation and quality of meat is going to be top notch when you're able to do it like this.
And the first incision I'm going to make is dorsally, starting at the head to the tail, and make this incision, run the knife with the hair down the back line. That way you're not cutting hair, dulling your knife through the process. Once I get to the tail, we're going to then angle off towards that top side leg. At this point, we're going to lay the animal on his side. Now we'll make an incision down the back side of the leg just past the hock. A lot of people will ring this around from hair side down, but if you actually go underneath, again, you're going to keep from dulling your blade. When you're skinning, if you angle your knife a little bit, you're just cutting connective tissue. It comes off really easy, and you can direct whoever's assisting you in the process, you know, where to pull and how that it's most efficient for you. Okay, so now that we have the animal skinned down to this point, if you were going to have the head mounted, let's say, come back about 2/3 of the way back on the ribs and make a little slice there on the skin, and then have whoever is helping you, Lee, if you can grab there and here and pull against your 2 hands so there's tension. I'm just going to score this, and now if he has tension there, it will open right up. And again, we didn't cut hair. That will give the taxidermist plenty of hide behind the front leg for mounting. And at this point, we'll make an incision on the foreleg. So you're going to come up just below the knee to the elbow and in the armpit and straight back on the brisket. Now we will peel this all the way down. It's just grabbing that connective tissue. You're not cutting directly into the hide. You're cutting almost you're angled almost at a 45 degree.
There's lots of heat that's going to be given off, but now the hide's off and it's going to be able to rapidly cool.
With this method, you're not at risk of exposing the meat that you want to eat to the bacteria and microbes. So at this point, we are ready to remove the hind quarter. We wanted to leave a testicle with the quarter. Simply pull it out of the scrotum and leave it like that. This is an area you want to be a little bit careful, just to make sure you don't puncture the abdomen. Lee's helping by applying a little pressure, but right here is the hip joint. And that will pop. And at this stage, he is starting to move that hip towards the point of the shoulder. So we're actually going to use the animal as a table for itself. The game bag right here. And if you see before we slide it in, testicles right there still attached. At this point, we can push it right into the game bag. And there's no hair, no dirt, clean piece of meat. So on the front shoulder, I come in and take the external rib meat, and again I'm kind of laying the knife down on the ribs at a little bit of an angle. That way you're not puncturing the cavity, you're also not dulling your blade on the bone.
So Dave, how do you know where you'd start cutting away the meat for the ribs?
You can see where this muscle stops, and we begin to peel that away. And again, the same as skinning, you just take the connective tissue.
And now of course you can see where he's exposed all the ribs. And you're not worried about back here because you're getting past the ribs.
Right.
And you're getting as much meat as possible.
And there was a shot a little far back on this animal, so we know that is compromised in there. Yep. This meat would not be any good anyway. So to leave that, we're not hurting anything. Now if you begin to pull up, Lee, so unlike the hip, where there's a point of attachment for the leg on the hind leg, the front shoulder is attached only by muscle. Like that, and then back that direction. Okay. Same thing, get the game bag under, have them push, and then you're in. From this point, we're going to remove the neck muscle. Go to the very end of your back strap. And you can follow, if you see, there's a very large yellow tendon there that holds their neck up. You just follow underneath that, cut here, close to the atlas, and then you can feel that vertebrae. And this meat I'll put in with the front shoulder. So now we're ready to move the back strap. And we just be careful here because there's no ribs, and then remove that external layer. Now you can kind of feel the end of the hip here, make an incision, and then you can, if you stick your fingers in, you feel the end of the short, what are the short ribs, and you're gonna lay your knife right on the edge of that. I am feeling it with my knife. I'm just running it right along the edge. The fillet is the inner loin, so it's running just inside those ribs right here. So what we're gonna do is kind of push away, and then we're right here. There are several little ligaments. Cut that, you feel the pressure, and then I can strip back and forth. At this point, if I pinch here and run the knife just like we did on the outside against the spine, we then are able to extract the best piece of meat in the animal.
So he's using his hands a lot to make sure that
minimize the possibility of puncturing those intestines by using your hands to strip that away. And then you have the muscle itself that you're removing insulating you from those intestines by running it along the spine. So that's the most tender piece on any animal, any big game animal. So what we do from this point is turn them over, okay, and just use his leverage and body weight to your advantage. And now we do the same process on this side. The last step in the process would be the removal of the head. And if you're going to mount it, you would leave this skin and cape attached. You can do this with a knife or a saw or whatever you would like, but you're going to cut the trachea and esophagus. Just work your knife in there and then twist. You're going to hear a noise similar to your chiropractor with a different result. One trick to this is keeping the nose down.
That's impressive. I haven't seen that trick.
So if you want to take the ribs, you can use a battery-powered sawzall, bone saw, and you don't want to go back too far because you get behind the diaphragm. And then slice up that way. And if we had left the muscle that was on top of that, you'd have, you know, 1.5 inches of meat for smoking. Then for those who want the heart, easy access at this point.
Voila.